As the Trump administration ramps up deportations, there is a new battle going on inside federal courts.
Immigration lawyers and judges say they are being targeted for following legal procedures.
ABC 7 News anchor Karina Nova has the story.
A violent confrontation outside San Francisco's immigration court. Protesters clash with ICE agents after an arrest outside a hearing. While these images are grabbing headlines, it's what's happening inside immigration courts that's creating a climate of fear, not just for immigrants, but for judges and lawyers as well.
I think there is a valid fear amongst the immigration community of attorneys and legal service providers that we are putting ourselves at risk, putting our careers at risk, our license at risk, if we're too vocal about the work that we do.
That's because the White House has targeted immigration attorneys. In March, President Donald Trump issued an executive order accusing immigration lawyers of coaching their clients to lie in asylum petitions. The president then ordered the U.S. Attorney General to sanction attorneys who engage in what he called frivolous and unreasonable litigation.
And the language in that executive order was very threatening, that by helping someone apply for asylum, we're violating our ethical rules as attorneys, and that we'll be investigated and could be charged and lose our licenses if we continue to help people seeking asylum.
The executive order is written in such a way that it suggests that even attorneys who are acting as zealous advocates to help individuals pursue relief and are presenting truthful claims may be targeted for their zealous advocacy.
Eilis Shugel was an immigration judge. She says in 25 years practicing immigration law, she has never seen what's been happening this year in immigration courts.
We're already seeing a large number of people being arrested who, under prior administrations, would not have been arrested.
To understand what's happening, we need to take a step back to when caravans of immigrants were arriving at the southern border when Joe Biden was president. To alleviate the crisis, immigrants without a visa were allowed to enter the country under what's called humanitarian parole. They were allowed to then apply for asylum. The Center for Immigration Studies estimates 2.8 million people were granted parole this way. Days after taking office, Trump ended humanitarian parole for recent migrants. Many of those immigrants are now being targeted for deportation when they go to an immigration hearing.
What's happening is DHS is moving to dismiss the removal proceedings so that DHS can pursue something called expedited removal.
Immigrants put into expedited removal can still present an asylum claim with the Department of Homeland Security, but it has to be done while they are in detention, where they don't have the same protections they have in immigration court. If DHS denies their claim, they can be deported immediately.
Individuals are more likely to have representation if they're in non-detained removal proceedings. By putting them into detention, it reduces the likelihood of representation and reduces the likelihood of being granted relief.
There's been an ongoing purge of immigration judges since Trump took office.
I, Donald John Trump.
On Inauguration Day, the Justice Department fired the acting head of the immigration court system and 3 top officials. Since then, more than 100 immigration judges have been fired. Most were hired in the past 2 years and were still in their probationary period.
Oh my God!
Others, like Jennifer Payton, who oversaw the Chicago Immigration Court, was fired as assistant chief judge.
A group of 7 assistant chief immigration judges like myself all received emails in the afternoon firing without cause.
Immigration judges are different than criminal court judges. They're not elected. They're civil servants and can be fired like other federal employees. In San Francisco, 4 judges have been fired in the past 3 months. Several of them were approving more than 90% of their asylum cases. For comparison, just 4% of asylum seekers are being approved at the Adelanto ICE Detention Center in California. Immigration judges we spoke to say they are getting policy memos pressuring them to reject more asylum cases.
They can't flat out say, if you don't do this, you will get fired, but it kind of puts pressure on the judges, knowing if they don't follow the advice in that memo or they do something that contradicts the advice in that memo, that they might be putting themselves at risk for being fired or being targeted or being reassigned.
Immigration courts are now short about 200 judge positions. It's expected that the judges that'll be hired will be more focused on the Trump administration's goals. The increase in detentions at the country's immigration courts has given rise to a new type of demonstration.
We essentially come out, stand here, keep an eye on things.
This demonstrator is one of several who regularly stands outside San Francisco's immigration court, keeping an eye out for ICE agents.
We're doing protective presence at the immigration court. The idea is that if enough people are here, ICE won't bother abducting people out of the community.
They hand out informational leaflets and offer to accompany immigrants to their appointments. They're not the only ones. Sarah Frank demonstrated outside Concord's immigration court.
I'm out here because I want immigrants to know that they matter, that we support them, and what is happening with ICE is not acceptable to the American people.
I'm recording people's names. I'm recording the country from which they came in case they get detained.
This woman is one of dozens of volunteer court watchers who were sitting in on hearings at both the San Francisco and Concord immigration courts.
Immigration courts are open to the public, and it's very important that we have observers there to make sure that due process is being followed and that the immigrants are aware of their rights.
Observers can guide immigrants without a lawyer to legal help.
I saw a situation where a kid, she was I think 14 or 15 years old, who was asked to make a decision. Now, she couldn't do it, so the judge made the decision for her.
Court observers are also there in case ICE agents try to detain someone outside the courtroom.
We like to have more people there in case someone needs to go outside the room to accompany an immigrant out. And then we like to have more people there in case there is an incident in which someone does feel intimidated.
Detentions in the hallways of immigration court have become contentious. In June, New York City Comptroller Brad Lander was arrested while trying to hold on to a person being detained by immigration agents.
And they can get physical pretty quickly if you try to interfere with their arrest.
Despite the risks, more than 100 people turned out for a recent training session in Berkeley on how to be a court observer.
We cannot fully prevent ICE arrests for now, but what we can do is we can try to collect as much information as possible before the individual is transferred to a remote detention facility.
It's important to follow people's whereabouts because once they're picked up, they get lost in the system. And if we know who they were, it's much easier to follow them within the system to look out for their rights.
Since the courtroom arrests began in May, there's been an increase in the number of immigrants who are too afraid to show up to a hearing after seeing images of people arrested as they leave court.
It seemed to me at first there weren't as many no-shows, but there are a lot of no-shows now. People are really scared.
Not showing up could mean their case is dismissed, making them immediately deportable.
You're required to be there, and if you don't show up, you basically abandon any claim that you have to stay in the United States legally.
Karina Nova, ABC 7 News.